just wanted to ask you, for all of those here, there might be some educators here, and I think most of us are students forever, aren't we? So just forever. And the conservatory, the Jazz Conservatory, where you're putting the programs together, what do you see that's moving forward in jazz singing? What are the classes that you're presenting that are making a difference for singers? Because I know we have a lot of teachers here, because I know a lot of them that are here.
Yeah.
So
You're
do you
one of
just
them.
have a couple of do you have a couple of programs that are particularly working well for singers as they're developing into getting out there today?
Wow. Yes and no. I mean, all the things that everybody, when you said, I don't think about what the future is, I think about it all the time. So I'm constantly thinking about it, because I've got developing artists that are spending money in an educational environment, and they expect to learn something and then go out and have a career. So I have to think about what that education is going to do for them and where they're going to take it, you know. And so all the things that have been talked about so far, like the Great American Songbook, it hasn't been updated for a while. So since I'm the chair of this vocal program, I added in this year Stevie Wonder and Joni Mitchell into the. And by the way, just as a little bit of background, I don't even have a degree. I fell into academia as an artist, and was invited by Mark Murphy and Sheila Jordan and Jay Clayton to go to Gratz and teach, and then Susan Muscarella. And anyway, I found myself where I am via being an artist.
Thank you for mentioning that also, because as we know in the world of education, if you don't have a master's degree now, you can't get a gig.
Right.
You know, Thelonious Monk would not have been able to get into the schools, and yet Fred Hirsch will be playing him at the Village Vanguard. You know what I'm saying? So the marrying of education now with how jazz used to be passed on, it's a different thing. And I think as educators, we've been talking about what's happening in that circle, because you don't want to miss out, you know, because the gigs are less these days.
Are you talking about teaching gig or playing?
Yeah, I'm talking about, you know, the artists. Right now, Laurie was talking about just some of her background, that she doesn't have a master's degree.
I don't even have a bachelor's degree.
Or a bachelor's, and I'm just saying I appreciate that she mentioned that. She's booking the classes, but she doesn't have
No,
that
I developed the whole curriculum.
Yeah, you've developed the curriculum.
Yeah, and it's just recently got accredited, which is kind of awesome.
That's right.
Let me tell you what the concept that I came up with, and I also am 56 years old too. So.
Right on, sister.
What sign are you?
Gemini.
I'm a Pisces. Okay.
Girls.
So I was gifted to be around many masterful musicians as a very young singer, like a 20-year-old singer. When I was 22, I was out on the road with Pony Poindexter, and I was mentored by Mark Murphy and Sheila Jordan as singers, but also Joe Henderson, and I worked with Richie Byrack, and all these. George Cable's played with me for my first record, and those guys spent so much time with me, just in their living room, just because they saw that I was into it, and they gave me so much. I mean, I just, want to cry, it's just like, they passed it on. So I had to come up with something for the school that was going to work, and I think a lot of things don't work in academia because it sort of beats the life out of the soul of the music a lot of times. You get in there with the fluorescent lights and it's just like weird, So I thought, what can I do that is something that's manageable but will also create an environment for developing singers to have the kind of experiences that I had, which are no longer available to them. There's not the jam sessions. Those guys aren't even around anymore. most of them, and George is still around, but I mean, that generation is pretty much gone. And thank God, I had those experiences. So what I do, and this is the heart and soul of the vocal program, and then I'll tell you the second layer of it, is I find the absolute best instrumentalists that I can in the Bay Area, and they come into the classroom. They're professional jazz musicians, the best that the Bay Area has, and that's the rhythm section, and then the singers come in, and they get to experience what it feels like to sing a ballad with someone who can really play that. You know what I'm saying?
Wonderful.
So there's that, and that's an ongoing thing, and I could talk about this, I'll write a book about it or something someday, I don't know. But then the next layer of it is that Roseanna's been at the school, Rene and I have been, she almost came to the school, but I'm going to make sure that she comes. But I bring as many artists as possible. Everybody's been there, Kurt, Elling, Bobby McFerrin, everybody's come. Everybody's come to teach. And so the singers can also, it's a little bit, it's not the same environment like it was when we were coming up, where you went to the club and met and hung out and got to, be with the people. But at least, you bring Nancy King in. Nancy's not an educator. And I just tell my students, come in and just be in her presence. Just feel what it's like to be around Nancy King. Mm-hmm. She's just like, she doesn't read music. But you're gonna learn something by being in the presence of somebody who's a deep artist. So that's what I hope for, in our educational program, and it works.
Well, you're certainly doing a great job. You're doing a great job, and when I heard Nancy King at a workshop, at the end of the workshop, we all said, by the way, how did you get to where you are as an improviser? And she said, it's because I learned a lot of solos and I play the drums. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a pretty good answer. Yeah. I'm going to move on right now because our time is short, and I want to be sure that everybody that would like to ask a question. I knew this wouldn't be long enough because we have such great information, such wisdom up here. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you.